Hello, Arlington. Welcome to this episode of the KillerFrogs. We are live at Grounds in Gold here in Arlington. Thank you. It's a little bit different than our podcasts have been over the last couple years. We're actually back having a live broadcast for the first time in since 2016. I think so. It's about right. Yep. 2016, yes. So it's been a while since we've talked to each other. So how's everyone been?
I'm doing great.
Yeah? Well,
awesome.
The audience is doing great. Yeah, hear us a little bit more? All right. Don't go too hot.
I'm glad I'm seeing people.
Yeah, it's nice, right?
Instead of y'all's bugs on I'm on the computer.
Yeah, we should say this is the socially distant podcast.
Yes.
Right? We are trying to be socially distant up here, even though we're all family, right?
So by a raise of hands, I would like to see who all's had COVID so far. Just Karen? It's awesome.
Just one. All right.
Just
Excellent.
one person? Wow.
I know she's still wearing a mask, too. All right. Yeah. Not anymore. My bad. All right. Well, yeah, it has been a while since we've actually had a chance to talk for a while. Everyone enjoy the bowl game?
It was awesome. We didn't lose.
Thank you for whoever
played
laughed.
pretty well.
I appreciate that.
But the Big 12 did well.
Yeah, not bad.
I mean, overall, right? We're
Overall,
happy
it was
about
okay.
that.
They
was
won them
pretty good.
all.
Yeah.
That's overall pretty well.
Very well, for the ones we played.
Yep.
Sure. You know, COVID has affected quite a bit. It is unfortunate given the fact that the football team kind of had a really good run there at the end. We started seeing some things out of this team that we were all really hoping to kind of see them carry into the bowl game against Arkansas. And I know a lot of people wanted us to play Arkansas again. It was unfortunate, but you know what? 2020 is finally over. We're now into 2021, which means it's springtime, which means it's everybody's favorite sport, soccer. And, baseball, right?
Thanks for that, Zavette.
Talk about another team that that started off hot last season, 11-4 with the TCU baseball team. And so tonight, we wanted to bring you guys a little bit of a special episode, and we have three amazing guests. I'm not going to spoil it for you just yet, so you just have to sit around and wait for that. And we're going to be talking about that in just a few minutes. To get started, though, Hunter, before we jump into that, I heard something about our recruiting class, because last time we talked about this, you were telling us how small the recruiting class was. Don't worry about how small it is. Everything will be okay. And then what happened?
Everything was okay. So we went into signing day with, or the week of signing day with 8 recruits, I believe. And then after signing day, we signed 14. So we had 6 in that week that nobody knew about. Like, those guys are not committed. 3 of them, no one even knew they were offered. 2 guys were guys who had went to high school were supposed to graduate the year before, and they, due to COVID, were going to go to JUCO, did not, and so they signed with a 4-year school. So we got a couple of guys who did that. We found some, really good recruits in just weird places. Yeah, we signed, we ended up going from like 95th in the country to 35th in a week. So added 6 recruits. It was it was just a really good day for TCU. Yeah.
It actually, the recruit class would have been better, but
Yeah.
some of those didn't get counted.
Yes,
as
the guys
recruits.
who were reclassified, the JUCO kids, those guys actually don't count for TCU this year in the recruiting rankings. If they would have, TCU would have ended up around 25th, even though they only had about 14 recruits. So really, really good year. I mean, you can't feel bad about that. And then TCU has also added 2 guys on the transfer market this year, just the last few weeks. Who
Transfer market. I like the way you put that.
Hey, we're going to win the portal. That's all I care about. I'm good with it.
I don't know. I felt like the portal was sucking more talent out than giving us back, but it sounds like we've kind of reversed that.
So the guys we lost were all guys who weren't playing tons. We've got 14 people who are transferring. One of them started a game last year. So you're not losing guys who started much. And, we're bringing in some guys who are really, really talented. We brought in a safety from Memphis who started 37 games over his 4 years there, and then he's going to do a 1 year with us, and then also an offensive tackle for them. Started 25 games, and then he's moving over to TCU as well. So, 40 starts between two guys that we're just picking up off the street for a year. So it'll be nice.
Yeah, and getting an offensive lineman's going to be a huge help.
Yes. Well, actually, we have him for 2 years.
Yeah, and
if
we have
he
him
stays
for 2 years,
2 years.
if he stays.
Yeah. I mean, we're in pretty good shape next year. And we got another quarterback that came in, too.
Well, yeah, we got
We got
a lot of
bunch
quarterbacks that
come
came in.
But we got Morris that
Yeah, we
transferred
got-
in. And I think that's going to be
Quarterbacks are future safeties. Which,
well, Morris won't be a future safety. He'll be a quarterback.
Yeah, that was the other
But we
big one.
needed some depth at quarterback. We needed some competition there. So
Yeah, we went
it's going
from
to be
having
nice to see that too.
one or two scholarship quarterbacks the start of this year to we signed 3 on signing day, and then Chandler Morris transferred in. So now we have 5 scholarship quarterbacks from the 2 we started out last season with. So quarterback room looks a lot better.
yeah, a lot better. And that's one of the areas that we thought going into the season wasn't going to be a big issue, and then suddenly it was just like one after another, all the way down to Max having a heart ablation. It's like, man, now we don't have any quarterbacks, and now it's just an embarrassment of riches again. So hopefully, like you said, the competition is going to be helpful in that particular case, and hopefully these guys stick around because that'll only make this team better in the long run.
Well, unfortunately, with the portal now, somebody will rotate out.
Yeah, that's true.
If you're not playing and you're second, third, they're going to rotate out. I hate that, but they will. I mean, and the sad thing about it is a freshman, he doesn't know, he might be not quite as developed in this and that, but it's a play me now type deal, or a lot of kids leave. And so we got 5 right now. I promise you, we won't have 5 in 2 years. So 2 or 3 of them, one might change position. 2 of them are transferred.
Well, knowing Patterson, he probably has one earmarked for something on defense, right? Yeah, that's usually how that works out. All right, Hunter, thank you so much for that recruiting little tidbit. But you know what? You guys aren't here to hear about recruiting or football season that's 6-8 months away. Hopefully, cross your fingers. Let's talk baseball. And we're going to bring up 2 special guests to get started with. First, the amazing owner of this unbelievable coffee shop here in Arlington, which again is Grounds and Gold. And if you've not been to this particular coffee shop before, it has an amazing story. You should definitely come and check it out. And by the way, if you mention that you saw it on KillerFrogs, they'll even give you 10% off on a cheesecake. And Dubber, I hear you know
Wait,
about that cheesecake.
Is it called the?
I do.
What's it? Oh.
Oh, I know about
We're gonna
cheesecakes.
fight over this.
You
gonna
can
step
see
back.
I like to eat. So I understand about food.
No.
And there's no better cheesecake than the Schlossnagle cheesecake here. I'm in love with that
It's
cheese.
purple.
In fact, I'm glad that I do not drive down this road too much, because if I did, I'd have to lie to my wife a lot more than I already lied to her when she doesn't know I'm getting cheesecake.
You weren't supposed to say that.
Well, I know. She usually ends up catching me somehow, some ways. But the cheesecakes are to die for. I mean, it's unbelievable.
In your case, literally.
Yes.
Yeah, it's really good. And I unfortunately have to drive by every day because my kids go to school right down the street. So I'm in here quite often. As you can see, I am no stranger to food myself. But we're going to bring up Maurice Ahern. And Maurice, if you want to come up here for a moment. And along with Maurice, give him a hand. Our second special guest of the evening is a man all TCU fans know and love. He is our fearless baseball coach, Jim Schlossnagle. Jim.
And if y'all remember, the COVID started right as baseball season was starting last year, and so we all felt, we never got the year started off. So now we get to finally pick back up, sort of where we left off at the beginning of the season. And yeah, we did. We really got cheated, and the year just never got better after that. So we're so glad you're here.
Coach?
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me. It's awesome.
Absolutely. Maurice, how you doing?
Great. Thankful to be here. Thankful for everyone who's here and came out to support. Can you hear? Oh,
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah,
No,
you have to
thankful to be
swallow the
here.
mics.
Yes.
Sorry about that. Just imagine it's one of those cheesecakes. It'll all work out. So, Maurice, you have a very interesting story behind this place. I know this has been a dream of yours for quite some time. but it has a special meaning in and above the fact that this is like your dream business. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So yeah, this place is really special and dear to my heart, and just even this happening tonight with KillerFrogs, I'm really gonna try not to get emotional because there's a lot of different.
No chance of that happening.
Yeah,
It's quite all right.
but so
Me too, probably.
So even this stage that we're on is called the Micah stage. So anyone that's kept up with TCU and baseball and how Coach has even honored Micah by the little emblem on the hats every year, this stage is in the shape of that. Everyone knew Micah by Superhero Micah. And so when Micah passed, they were just wanting to do something to kind of carry on his legacy, who he was. But anyone that knew Micah knew how he was just embracing and loving and full of joy, a big goofball, just, yeah, you just who he was in general, wanting to have a place that captured that and could carry that on, but also be a place that we could give back to causes that helped a lot with kids like Micah. So that was a dream, but starting something like that seems a little daunting. So start off with a bakery, and as that bakery grew, and then it came to the part like, do we do a coffee shop? And the coffee shop started off small in plans, but grew because as those visions of like what we could make it do, have a place where the community could come and do that. And so every aspect even of his place is with Micah in mind. And so yeah, it's humbling to be here and do this and see the people here. But even with this podcast, so Micah was on a KillerFrogs podcast, and some of the people.
I need to apologize about that because when he was on our podcast, we kind of got into the weeds on some stuff, and he was waiting in the wings, right? He was on deck, and he ended up falling asleep before he came up. And I am so sorry because Scott and I just got into this thing, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh, he's asleep. Our next guest is asleep. I am so sorry about that. But he had a great time.
Oh, he had a great time.
We had to wake him up, but he had a great time.
Jantzen talked to him some before he was falling asleep, so it was good. But just that thing, and then KillerFrogs doing this live here on Micah's stage is really, really meaningful. Of course, Coach has been a really vital part of that relationship with Micah, and even your support and everything you've done. You didn't have to do, you weren't asked, and so you went above and beyond not only what love you showed him and our family, but also continuing and to carry that on. So yeah, it's there's a mural up above this stage, and every weekly but almost daily people ask me about this thing. So there's different aspects of Micah's life on that mural, and TCU is shown up there with the baseballs and the 4 trips to the World Series, and I was ready for them to make another trip until COVID happened. So this year, hopefully that they'll go. But I get to tell just about TCU and that relationship. So and even this ring, I wear it. It's probably wearing it to death, but it's you and the baseball team are very special. So thank you.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was going to say, and this is a story. I don't know if everybody here knows the story, exactly how you got involved with Micah and just how special he became, not just to TCU and you, but the entire team. And not just one team, but many teams that went through TCU.
Yeah, so the short version is basically, this will be my 18th year at TCU. So in the summer of 2013, we always tried to pride ourselves by being a part of the community, and I felt like, I just my own personal values are I just hate to say no to anything, especially anything that involves children. And so in the summer of 2013, we had just come off one of the worst seasons that we'd had during my time at TCU, and I was actually coaching the USA national team, and I was in Japan. And I had been thinking all summer about, a lot of changes that needed to happen in our program to get us back to a national level, national prominence after 1 year that wasn't so great. And one of the things I was thinking about was I just felt like we were like 2 inches deep and a mile wide in community service. In other words, we dipped our toe in a million things, but we weren't just all in on one thing. And so literally as I was having that thought in a hotel room in Japan, I was checking my email, and I got an email from a group called Team Impact, and they were out of Boston, and their thing was that they paired critically ill children and their families with sports teams. And I was like, this is us. And I sent it back to Meredith Montgomery, our director of operations, and I said, I'm all in on this, get it started. When I get back, I want to meet these people. And we met with them. And then a couple weeks later, they said, well, we have a match with a family in Arlington that we'd love for, and we had them come over one day, and it was freezing cold, and I remember we were hitting in the old batting cages, and I think Finney was putting the ball on the tee for Micah, and it just started right there. And I mean, not that we've continued to say yes to most things, but we were all in with this. And then it was just he became a part. I mean, they. And mainly Micah, but the whole family, they just became a part of us. Bottom line is he had his own locker, he had his own uniform, he had his own helmet, and, Maurice will have to speak to this, but my goal was that every time they came to the field, that I just wanted it to be as normal as it could possibly be. And I've never had to experience with my children anything like what Maurice had to go through. My children had, my own personal children, they do have some vision problems, so I know what it's like to have that fear. I know a little bit what it's like to sit in the doctor's office and just wait and just be there all the time type stuff, and I just can't imagine. And so my goal was when they come here, we're treating them like anybody else. And Micah was the greatest, but he was also a little, there's a lot of times where I had to say, hey, Micah, go sit down.
You had to bench him.
Because and I think he loved that. I think his family loved that. And he knew he could come to a ball game, he could be there for batting practice and stay the whole time, or he could show up in the third inning and stay for 2 innings and go back home if he had to go back home. And so there were many times where, it's bases loaded and 2 outs, and I'm standing there in my spot in the dugout trying to figure out what we're going to do, and, hey, coach, where are the apples? Whatever. And, go sit down. So anyway, that my vision of Micah is everything is awesome, but he's a part of the team. He's one player on our team. Bottom line. And when we went to the College World Series, he was invited to be there, and they were invited to be there, and that that was just my goal in the whole thing. Is we signed him to a national letter of intent, and what do we say? His graduation year 2028, 2027, and hopefully I'll still be the coach then. And I'm serious. We will celebrate that day too. When his freshman class rolls in, he will be a part of that.
I'm looking forward to that. That's awesome. And I'm not used to playing to an audience again, so I apologize. And it really was. It was one of those kind of transformative. Thank you, Coach. Yes, words are hard. And I'm a teacher. Anyway, so yes, it was a transformative effect on the entire team. It was that moment where we saw players. It was like when Micah was around, it was like the entire mood shifted. You wanted it to be normal, but he was part of the team, and they treated him like part of the team, and they played hard with him like part of the team. And we won't go into some of those stories, but I know they're great. But it was something to see the entire team and then see that spread to the entire fan base. Just absolutely just come around Maurice and your family and Micah, and it was a really good thing. But going back to what you were saying though, it was that inch deep, mile wide when it came to service. And I think that's such an important aspect of, and we're seeing that with a lot of the teams now. And I don't know if it started with Micah and what you guys did with Micah, but we're seeing a lot of the coaches go in that direction as well with their teams. And it's one of those things that I know the fan base really appreciates from TCU, to see the teams get out there and really be part of the community.
Yeah, for sure. And here's what the unique thing, and this is where I start to cry, but we did this. Our intent was to help their family. And what happened was our impact, he may tell you differently, but the impact was 10 times much from their family and Micah to us. And that's the reason that, like, he'll forever, as long as I'm around, he'll forever be a part of our program. Because, you know, he taught us, I don't know if we taught him a thing, but he and his family taught us so much. And if you walk into our locker room right now, we have one entire wall is just a mural of Micah. And, you know, I should have sent that picture to Ryan. Maybe we could have put it up tonight, or you could put it up however when you show it.
We'll put it up afterwards.
And that's not, you know, this isn't like a good luck charm thing. It's not. This has nothing to do with anything like that. What Micah taught us was joy, obviously courage, obviously never ever give up, but especially to me and our family, it's perspective. And when you think you're having a bad day, and you walk by that picture, it ain't that bad.
No, not at all. And that is such an important aspect of every one of the players we've ever talked to on this podcast and on the show, outside in social media. Every single one of them say the same thing, that Micah taught them so much and meant so much more to them. And Maurice, it is an amazing testament to your son's legacy of what he has done and the amount of people that he touched, not just on your team's coach, but everybody out here. And there's not a dry eye in the place right now. And it really is all because of your special son. And to build this place that you have done is an amazing, just an absolutely amazing testament to you carrying on that legacy. And I, for one, absolutely love this place, and I really hope everyone has a chance to come out and see this. Because just like you said, with that mural on the wall and those teams that are coming through TCU will be told that story, will understand what that means. Everybody who comes in here and asks, what's up with that awesome mural up here? What's up with that lovely little display that you have over there by the TV set? They all get a chance to hear that story again, and he just immediately touches another life. So, Maurice, thank you so much for sharing Micah with all of us.
Thank you.
Well, so Maurice, you got the coffee shop, you have the confections, which we've heard Dubber absolutely just. From what I understand, you can't keep the cheesecake in stock because of Dubber, but
He helps me move it.
yeah. So, what are your continued plans with this space? Do you have live shows in here? What can you tell us a little bit more about the people who want to come over here and be a part of what you've created?
So yeah, this place is built with the community in mind, and again, we kind of have like 5 C's that are wrapped up in why we do. And so there's the coffee part and being intentional about that from start to finish, but the confections, the bakery, how we do that. But another part is the community. And so again, just who Micah was and even what we even experienced from the TCU community, but wanting a place where people could come and could feel like this was their place. And so this was built with that in mind. Every little detail from people can hold events here, from special celebrations, from birthday parties to showers. We do classes here, decorated cookie classes, coffee classes. We'll have painting things. This stage was built so that, like this, with KillerFrogs could do that. Again, Coach can attest to this, and nurses that cook children's can attest. Micah loved to do Nerf guns. He loved to, just
Nerf battles in here?
yeah, Nerf. So maybe we'll have a Nerf gun battle in here. That would be fun. So, but he was all about that entertaining when he would get in his little moods there. So like we wanted a place where we could do that. So we have open mic nights that happen every other Thursday, but live music on weekends. So this Saturday we have live live musician coming in and playing. And so we hope it just continues to morph more and more and just really be, like, my greatest joy is, like, even today as I was walking around, there was even some students that came out from TCU out here earlier today. And but just as I was looking and seeing all the different people around, just so many people from different, just all walks of life, and just enjoying, and like that's what this place is here for. It's here for that to happen. So that's the community part. The other two C's are the cause. We're really big on cause, and so we give back to all kinds of local causes, and one that's very dear to my heart is Cook Children's. It's in the mural. Micah would call it Cook's Hotel because he spent so much time here, but really they take a great care of the kids. Like, I mean, when you think, like, Micah had so many he'd call them pokies. He didn't like the pokies. I mean, every time he gets stuck with a needle, well, you know, I don't like getting stuck, but you think about someone who had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of those things. And how they would just, they made it fun in the midst, like, and he got waited on. The nurse, you know, he pretty much whatever he wanted, you know, but they made it a nice experience from him. And so we give back to Cooks, and in fact, there's an event coming up that I know will be mentioned the Blast, but Cody is here with that, so I just want to thank Cody for even being here and her involvement in that. But the cause, we have Make-A-Wish, Cook Children's, all kinds of different organizations in the area. So that's great to continue to give back to those things. And then the other C is just care. I grew up in, like, I got instilled in me at an early age, like, that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And, like, I didn't really, like, I never, growing up, ever thought I would be doing this. Like, I pursued a path to be a professor. I was going to school to do all that. When Micah was diagnosed, we were living in another country. I mean, we had planned to live in that country for many years. And so, like, to be here doing this, running a business in a community and a total different career path is not something I planned 10 years ago. But, like, every aspect, I'm getting to live out that caring and showing people that, man, our country is divisive, and just people fight. But, like, I just get to show people, here's a place where you can feel that you're cared about and you're loved, and, like, and that's what's so awesome, just to have a place like that. And again, Micah taught me a lot about that. A 7-year-old kid taught me huge things on that. So that's what this place encompasses, why we do what we do.
And I will say, the fact, like I mentioned before, I do come in here quite regularly. It's a blessing to live so close to this place. And every time I'm in here, it's packed. And I think a lot of the people realize just what you're talking about, that they do get care here and they do get comfort, and I think it's amazing. I want to go back to the causes, though, real quick, because you mentioned one that is also near and dear to everybody's heart as well. Is the Blast. So can you talk for those who may not know what this is about, and there's been a little bit of a change in it this year. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, so again, like, it's when you have people that invest in you and do, like, I remember the first time when I was younger, as a teenager, even going to college, and like people who wanted to invest in me, and it was hard accepting that, and they were always like, you know, you just do that back to someone else. And so, like, that kind of thought process is going through, like, when you go through the cancer and you have, like, those people that had invested in you, like, and you see firsthand how you do it. One is, you know, firsthand the value, but it's hard not to feel indebted to continue so they can do that. And so Cook Children's firsthand, I know, like, it is a blessing that Fort Worth has in their community. They really are a great hospital. They do a lot, and they continue to just grow and grow. And even, I mean, it's not just about offering treatment. They offer a lot of care from their services too. So just as I'll forever bleed purple because of what TCU had done for I'll forever bleed Cooks because I know firsthand the value of what they've done. So, and the same way for any organization like that we support is, like, with COVID, organizations have all taken huge drops in giving. Just like running a restaurant is not easy during COVID. Well, just think about these charitable organizations that, because people are cutting back or maybe not doing, like the Blast. Every year this event is a race. It was started. Actually, this whole race started, a girl started it. Her best friend, her neighbor, had neuroblastoma, and she wanted to do a little walk to raise money for that. And so that started off from a friend trying to help her raise money, and then that thing grew into now a thing that's raised over $1.5 million, somewhere around that, for neuroblastoma treatment. And what that's allowed is for Cooks to be one of the leading providers in the Southwest with neuroblastoma. So some of the treatments like MIBG radiation treatment, which Micah received, people come all over for that. That wouldn't have been there if it wasn't for this blast, which every year it's a race that's grown and grown, and people would come and do their teams. Well, COVID happens. There is no actual physical races coming. So now you have to get creative. So they did a virtual race, and Cody, who's part of that, she came on right on her first year, and then, COVID, and she's having to do with a virtual blast, and now this year again, we've got to do it virtually. So what it's all about is this event now, it's morphed to where it just doesn't help kids with neuroblastoma. It also helps kids, any pediatric cancer kids. So it even has a greater effect. But how you can be involved is KillerFrogs has made a team. KillerFrogs is supported since day one with a relationship by Scotty and Wes, where they were out there at the races. I tried to get Scotty to get in a tutu, but he never did do that. But I thought we could raise some serious money that way. But they were always really big involved, and so Ryan and Sean have continued to carry that on. And so the team, so you can go on and you can donate to that team. You can start your own team. And what we just ask is that you give donations. And you might be saying, man, this is really hard this year for my family. Any little bit goes a long ways. But one of the greatest things I've learned is the blessing with social media has its good things and its bad things. But one thing is with social media, you can start a fundraiser on there. It's super easy, and we can get your information how to do that. You can start a thing, and that money can go to that blast, which, again, goes to help with treatment with childhood cancer there. And you can do it in honor of Micah. KillerFrogs has set up a team. It's Team Superhero Micah, or Team Micah Killer.
KillerFrogs Superhero Micah.
So
it's a little bit of a mouthful.
But yeah, very dear cause. But I just encourage everyone to please be a part and share that. And let's help them this year in a time where they're having to do a whole bunch of things different to raise money. We've got a really giving community, I know, because TCU has been very generous to my family through a lot of things, and you're really good at sharing. And so man, a bunch of people at $5 makes a big difference even at that. But if anything, just getting the word out so they can continue. This has nothing to do with me, but for Cooks, so that they can continue to offer other kids. So my goal is 1 year no kid has to go through what Micah ever went through, because it's not enjoyable. So
no, and I know that's Cook's goal as well, to ensure that no kid has to go through this anytime in the future. So it's an unbelievable cause. We have information up on the website. You could certainly go to killerfrogs.com and you find out information about our team on the blast. You can certainly join that if you'd like. Or you can make a donation just directly to it if you don't feel like doing a race. Some years I don't feel like doing a race. The virtual race means there's a chance for me. But when it comes to the normal thing, if you'd rather just donate to Cooks, trust me, they put it to good use. And it is a unbelievable charity, and it is something that I think everybody should look into. And I know, Maurice, thank you so much for everything. I really appreciate you sharing again with us about Micah, and we look forward to it. And again, thank you so much for this amazing place that you have created here in Arlington.
Thank you. My pleasure.
All right. Thank you, Maurice. Coach, stick around for one quick minute?
Sure.
We got a couple of questions for
All right,
you.
let's do it.
COVID hits. You guys are on a tear, 11-4, right? I mean, I think D1 Baseball had you guys slated as teams to watch to go back to Omaha. And I know you guys don't like talking about that kind of stuff that early in the season. COVID hits, though, absolutely upends everything. And then there's some changes that happened last year, a couple of big changes. The NCAA changes some stuff when it comes to scholarships. For those who may not know, what were some of those changes that happened last year?
Yeah, so basically what they did to, kind of give everybody the year back is they gave everybody an extra year of eligibility. And so with that comes financial challenges because you only have so much scholarship money, and there are limitations. There's a cap on how much scholarship money each school is allowed to have. And so what they did is for the seniors that came back, whatever scholarship they were on in 2020, and baseball, if you don't know, is not a full scholarship sport. It's all percentages, so 30%, 50%, maybe zero.
You're allowed, 11.7 scholarships?
We're allowed
like
11.7 scholarships.
Right.
Just under 12. So what they did is whatever scholarship a senior was on, he could get that scholarship, and just that scholarship for those, in our case, our 8 seniors, that would not count against your 11.7. However, that wasn't a mandate. So in other words, that's still real money that somebody has to pay.
Right. The NCAA is not ponying up the cash.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, they're not ponying up. So not every school did it because you're heading into COVID, and they're looking to cut corners any possible way. And as you've heard 1,000 times, and we all already know this, no disrespect to any coach, any athletic director, anybody at TCU, but the hero of TCU is Victor Bocchini. Nothing happens without Chancellor Bocchini signing off on it, and he's such an unbelievable supporter of athletics. And he called me one afternoon, and within 30 minutes after the rule passed, he said, "Is this good for us?" Because he really likes the College World Series. He loves to go. I tell him they have it every year. He can go anytime he wants, but he only likes.
There's just something special though when we're in Omaha.
He likes to go when we go. So anyway, he said, "Is this good for us?" And I said, "Yeah, this is really good for us because all 8 seniors, they're good players and great guys, and like Jantzen or Finney, you want those guys back." And he said, "All right, I got it." And an hour and about 20 minutes later, our athletic director Jeremiah Donati called and said, "We're good," and the chancellor said he's going to cover it from his end. And so it didn't even, it may cost athletics in some form, but I think the chancellor really had a big part of that. And then the other thing they did is they gave us an unlimited roster, since in combination with that, instead of having a 40-round Major League draft, because of COVID, they cut the Major League draft to 5 rounds. So now you had more good players coming back to college this year, and more good players coming into college this year. So everybody, keeps asking me, "Do you like your team?" Like, yeah, I love our team. I mean, it's a super talented team, great guys. If we can stay healthy, I'll line us up against anybody. The problem is everybody else feels the same way, right? So every single team, and I really believe this 2021 season, college baseball is going to be played at a level that none of us have ever seen before, especially from a pitching standpoint. And whether that's a midweek game here in the Metroplex, or whether it be, a Big 12 series, or I'm sure maybe we'll talk about our opening weekend against 3 SEC teams. So it's going to be very, very entertaining. It's going to be challenging, but it's going to be a lot of fun.
So the mental side of it, how do you keep? To me, being an athlete, when I think about that all the time, I think keeping the kids, getting them to buy into, hey, you got to be safe, you got to stay away from things, you got to. I assume that's probably one of the biggest things you talk about now all the time. It's just
Yeah, and you do, but you also have to. I mean, we're all living this. Like, human beings aren't meant to be in isolation, right? I mean, that's one of the C's community. I mean, we're supposed to be around each other. We're supposed to interact, and especially when you're 18 to 22 years old. I mean, I think all of us, like I tell people all the time, I don't miss school, but I sure do miss college.
exactly.
Right? So the best part of being in college, it wasn't baseball, it wasn't going to class, but it's being with your friends, and you're going through all these things that an 18 to 22-year-old does, and you're becoming a young woman, you're becoming a young man, and you do that with people that are going through the exact same things you're going through, and that's how you grow up. And now you got to do it by yourself, or you have to do it with just a couple other people, and you have the coach screaming at you. So on the front end of the things, yes. I mean, I started off hard on them, but we still, we follow the protocols, we do all those things, but at the end of the day, the side effects of this thing, I'm obviously not going to give you names, but I had upwards of 10 to 12, 18 to 22-year-old big, strong guys on a couch in my office this fall in tears because they don't know how, what do I do? I'm stressed out, depression, anxiety, all these things. And so my own personal opinion, no disrespect to the virus, but that's way worse. And so we've just been super creative, and we do things outside. We're, just trying to keep them moving and stuff like that. And the things that I trust in our program and what I've learned, if you use our women's soccer program as an example, Big 12 champion for Coach Bell, he came and spoke to our team the week before last and gave our guys and me some awesome advice. And really what it comes down to, number one, is what is the culture of your program already? So if the culture of your program is discipline, attention to detail, we do things the right way. We make mistakes, no doubt about it, but we try to make good decisions. And if you have that, which I feel like we do, and number two, if you have an older team, which we really do. We have, when I say those 8 seniors, we have 5 guys in their 6th year of college. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, that is big league.
That's pretty good.
Huge.
It's beautiful, and
Yes.
we can talk about that some, but anyway, so you have great. It's not just me talking; it's those 8 seniors going. Listen, man, I came back. We have 2 guys that are going to turn 25 during this season. It's like coaching at BYU, right? so when those guys are saying, hey, freshman, I came back for a reason, and you're not screwing this deal up. And so any screw-ups that we have on our team, actually, if they get to me, they're real bad because those guys are policing themselves. And Finney and Jantzen will tell you when they get up here, anytime you're a part of a team that has, and those guys were part of those kind of teams, where they can police themselves, they hold each other accountable, they have their own discipline, man, that's when you have a chance to do something special. So I love our guys. They're great. They're a joy to be around, and I think we'll be okay. I mean, there's gonna be screw ups and some of this stuff you can't control, but I'm fired up.
So what's the total number you have right now on the roster?
We have 44 players.
Wow.
And you're normally only allowed 35. So.
So when they remove that cap, those are one of the questions I was going to ask you. It's unlimited now, right? I mean, they're not. They'll probably put the cap back on after this is, if it ever goes back to normal. But it's really just however many players you can bring back in, right?
Yeah. So the 11.7 goes back into effect next year. What they are going to let us. Normally the roster's 35. Next year we're going to be allowed to have 40. The following year 38, and then the following year 35. And the Major League Draft is going to go from what they think 5 rounds to maybe 10 or 20. They haven't decided. It'll never be 40 rounds again. They've cut about 40 minor league teams. So professional baseball has really contracted. So yeah, it's going to be it's going to be a ripple effect for many years.
And one of the other things that they did was they allowed for the first time you guys to actually, and correct me if I'm wrong, you weren't able to commingle academic scholarship and athletic scholarships if you're a baseball player, right? So if you had to pick one or the other.
No, you're actually allowed to do those. You're allowed to do academic and athletic. What you weren't allowed to do until this year, is need-based aid.
Okay.
So if you have institutional need-based aid with athletics, and they changed that rules, which really helps TCU.
Yeah, and I know that there have been a couple of programs that have worked to try to get around that. I know a colleague of yours that you know very well, Coach Corbin over at Vanderbilt, did was it Opportunity Vanderbilt, right, where he was going out and trying to find needs-based scholarships basically for a lot of these kids. And I think now that they can commingle that needs base with the athletic. And I think TCU's got some need-based scholarships that they've been working on as well, right?
Yeah, we do. So all of that, I don't want to get too deep into this. I mean, people, the bottom line, your private universities are run by your endowment. So how much money you have invested, how much money you have saved. So TCU's endowment on any given day, check the market, it's about 1.5 to, in between 1.5 and $2 billion. We were right in the middle of raising, close to $1 billion of the Lead On campaign when COVID hit at the university. Well, Vanderbilt's $6 to $7 billion. Stanford's $20 billion. Harvard is, 30 to 40 billion. So we are actually, relative to our peers, Rice, who's about 4.5 to 5 billion, Vanderbilt, relative to those schools, we're behind. And so that's a thing. That's a hard thing to raise money for, because if you're a guy that has a couple $15 million to give, most people don't just want to give that to put in the endowment. They want to give it and build a building, right, and see their name.
Yeah, they want their name on something.
Exactly. So that's a really hard thing to raise money for, but the university's doing a great job. So in other words, long story short, if you were to apply for need-based aid at Vandy and apply for need-based aid at TCU, and let's say you qualified for $60,000 out of a $70,000 cost. At Vandy, because of their endowment, you're going to get the full 60 that you're qualified for. At TCU, depends on what kind of student you are, but you might get 30,000, you might get 40, you might get a little bit more, and which helps us, no question. It doesn't put us in the same league as Vanderbilt yet.
Right. But that's the important thing.
Yeah, but and raising, it's going to take time to catch that. Probably not during my time as the coach, but it definitely helps us. But we just need to now work it, and that's what's happening in recruiting.
Right. So, but the change is now, if I understand it, you can actually commingle the athletic scholarship with that.
Correct.
With the needs base. So
only up to whatever the need is.
Right. And so they've made some adjustments to how the percentages and how you can split all that up. So
correct.
That helps. Of course, if they could raise the cap to the number of scholarships that you could actually give out, that would be even better. But I understand it's small steps. But I know in past years we've talked about the scholarship issue and your thoughts on that. And I think, do you feel like this is a positive step forward that the NCAA is doing, and do you feel like they're going to continue this way?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think they're just everything now is about student athlete rights. Name, image, and likeness. All the social stuff, and now this is just they removed that and said, whatever money the kid can get, he gets, which I'm all for that, especially in a sport where we're so limited. I mean, you're talking, we have the Janssen's parents here. They can more than tell you, and I get free. My kids get free tuition because I've been working there for 18 years, but I still have to write a check for room and board, and it's not it's well worth it, but it's not cheap. So, but yeah,
the dorms are a little different than when we were there.
Just a little.
Just a little. Yeah, so I totally get you, Coach. I think these are really good changes. So maybe something positive from the COVID situation last year. And I know we're all looking forward to this season. And we had a couple of questions on the board that people wanted to know. Maybe you could tell us first 4 starters. Do you have an idea?
Well, we haven't even thrown the live hitters yet, so it would only be somewhat. I mean, we return the guys that started the weekend series for us last year, and that was Johnny Ray, right-handed pitcher on the Friday night, Russell Smith, the left-handed pitcher, and then Charles King, who was pitching in our rotation at that time. So those 3 guys are certainly in the mix. We've identified, Coach Sarlos and I, 7 or 8 guys that we think have potential to be effective starting pitchers, and so they're going to have to fight it out. But if you held a gun to my head today, certainly Johnny Ray is going to be a part of that. Certainly Russell Smith will be a part of that. We had a left-hander named Austin Kroeb who really came on. He reminds, when he's at his best, he's not Brandon Finnegan yet, right? He's not Nick Lodolo, or he's not any of those guys yet, but he has potential to be that person or one of those elite left-handed pitchers, and we've had some really good ones. Charles King will be a part of that. Jacob Metter, I think. Riley Cornelio, Marcelo Perez. We have a freshman named Cam Brown, super talented. So there's going to be some good competition, and we'll just see how it goes. The thing you got to remember is these guys missed a ton of development time. They missed an entire season, and then really a couple of them got to pitch in the summer, but it wasn't the same. And so every single team's like that. They're very, very much behind in their development as amateur players. and we just got to throw them to the wolves. And I think if we can stay healthy by the time we get to conference play, we might be okay.
Sounds good. Well, Coach, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We really appreciate that. Head coach Jim Schlossnagle. All right, so we're going to switch gears a little bit. Still on baseball, we have another great surprise for each and every one of you here today. We have got, and Coach kind of alluded to it in a couple of his answers. We have got two of our favorite TCU baseball alums. Let's see, we got Jantzen Witte and Brandon Finnegan. Finny has his cappuccino. That was looking good. Gentlemen, good evening.
Good evening. Thanks
How
for
you
having
doing?
us.
Yeah, thanks for joining us tonight. So before we start, we had somebody ask a very specific question for you, Jantzen. Did you ever find good chili up on the East Coast?
Good chili?
Chili,
I
yes.
gotta be honest, I'm not the biggest chili guy, but it's funny you mention that. My wife Lauren actually went to the grocery store today, and she's like, "I got stuff to make chili," and I had to be like, "Oh, I love chili. That's so great." So sorry, but
She's
I
just
don't
now
know. I
finding
can't
out about
answer
this.
that.
That you're not a really big fan with chili.
she's she's learning this live right now.
Oh, well, there we go. So these two players here have been a big part of TCU, and Jantzen, I have to say, Scott Nix absolutely adored you. I think he stalked you a little too much on Facebook, so I apologize for that. But you are absolutely his favorite baseball. Sorry, you're absolutely his favorite baseball player. Don't worry, you were mine. Sorry.
I mean, hey, Scott was the best. He was my biggest fan, and honestly, being back here and doing a radio show, we've been thinking about Scott a lot today. So it's great to see WC, and I'm glad that this is back up and running because we definitely all miss Scott.
Yeah, we do, and I appreciate you guys coming in. So a quick question for you, just to lead us off. COVID hits. How is that affecting minor league play right now? And minor league players, teams, we already heard, we've got a major contraction going on in Major League Baseball. How are you guys and your teammates, how is everybody kind of handling COVID right now?
Well, hopefully Brandon doesn't have to worry much about on the minor league side. Hopefully he'll be back up there immediately this year. As far as COVID stuff, I mean, Brandon, I think you were in the same shoes as I was, but everything was going great this spring training. This was my first time I was with the Red Sox to be officially part of the big league camp, and felt like I was getting to be around the big league staff for the first time and was making a good impression. And then we saw the NBA season got canceled, and it was like, well, this is not good. And shoot, I was on a flight home like 2 days later. I mean, it happened really quick. And it was a scary thing initially. I mean, we didn't really know what it was, and so it was a lot of sitting around after that and just kind of see what's next.
Vinny?
Yeah, I mean, it was actually pretty insane because, minor league camp was just about to start. And I guess it got canceled the day – I guess spring training completely got canceled the day that minor league spring training was supposed to start. So, guys were coming in and immediately leaving. So, the moment we found out, I made a 15-hour drive home the next day, me and my wife and my dog. And, I think I can speak for everybody when we thought this wasn't going to last very long. Clearly, it has taken a turn for the worse.
So you thought, I'm going to pack the dog up in the truck, and we're going to drive back for 15 hours, and then I'm going to turn back around in 72.
100%.
A week later.
I was like, I'll be home for a week and a half, and then I'll be back out here in spring training. And, that definitely wasn't the case. But I think we made the most of it. Jantzen, me, a few other, Matt Carpenter, Brian Holiday, Alex Young, Tyler Alexander, Brian Howard. We all got together, and Carp happens to be neighbors with the Glen Rose High School baseball coach. And he was very nice to us and allowed us to come use his field once a week to throw live VPs. So we were pitching to Jantzen and Carp and Holiday and all them every week. So we stayed in shape, but, finally something came of it. And, there was a big league season, but, of course, no minor league season, so it sucked. But, it's definitely been tough.
So when you're out there at the high school field, do you have much of an audience?
No, no. I mean,
Couple wives.
yeah, a couple wives came out
So
there.
the word didn't get out. He didn't just have like everybody in the neighborhood.
You
come
know, we
out and
actually
watch.
thought he'd have his players out there, but I guess I mean no. But there's a few kids came out and watched Carp hit. You know, enjoyed that. But for the most part, it was just us players, and we had a blast. You know, at the end of it, when baseball season started to kick back up, our last live BP, we all decided to float the river together. So I mean, it ended up being fun, but this sucks. It's been tough.
Honestly, when did we start doing that? Was it March, April, May? Was it June maybe? It seemed like we were starting to ramp up. We had heard, MLB season will start back up July 4th, and it just kept kind of getting pushed back. And, Brandon, I don't know if you feel differently, but we've been playing baseball for a long time. And when you play in college, it is the most fun experience that, you could ever have. Then you get to pro ball and the minor leagues. Luckily for Brandon, he didn't have to play in the minor leagues very long, which is pretty cool, actually. When he signed, he went straight to high A, I believe, and we got to play against each other. Yeah. I'd been in the minors for a few years. He signed 2 weeks before, and then I was playing against him. But so that was pretty cool that we got to play against each other there. But minor league baseball in the minors is it's a grind for sure, right? You hear that a lot. And I got to say, during COVID, when we were doing all of our stuff out at Glenrose, that is like the most fun doing baseball stuff I've had since college. It was just a great group of former TCU guys, and we're getting to go out there. We had the whole field to ourselves, and I really, really enjoyed that. So, there's small blessings we could take from all this stuff, and that was one thing, getting to be around anytime. It's sad leaving college. Everybody kind of moves away, Yeah. We were talking to former teammate Brant Rivera yesterday, who he came in town for a meeting, and it's like, oh my gosh, like I want to see you, man. There's so many people that they haven't made their way back yet, and so getting to spend time with former TCU players like that, like we did this past year, was super fun for me.
Well, I know Coach has made it a policy that anytime you guys want to come back, you're more than welcome to come back to Lupton and work out if you need to. So did you guys take advantage of that during the break? Were you able to? I mean, I don't know.
Sure, it was a little different.
Yeah, it was different, but they use that cage every day, I feel like, because anytime I drive by to go pick up lunch for my wife, I feel like I see his car, and yeah, sure. No, but I see Janssen's truck, and I see Carp's truck, and Holiday's car, and I feel like they're in there every day working. And for us, during quarantine, Coach Slosh allowed me and Bo Burrows, who didn't go to TCU, but he's good buddies of us, Tyler Alexander, AY, and Howie, he allowed us to throw up at the field, and we threw off their mound all the time. So we used it pretty much every single day. So we don't get to use the indoors as much as they do, but we definitely get to use the facilities a lot too. So it's been a blessing for sure.
Yeah, Coach Slosh and TCU, they go above and beyond letting us use the facilities. I mean, we have our own little locker room that is attached to the current players' locker room. I mean, it is a dream setup for sure.
So where are you guys at now? I mean, what's the game plan for the spring here?
Well, I'm still with the Reds.
Right.
I was at the alternate site this past season. Threw really well. Now the plan is just going to spring training and win a spot. Go in there and just do what I know I'm capable of doing, just like any other player. Just go out there and have fun and try to not make it seem like it's a job. I mean, it's hard to do nowadays because baseball's turned into such a business sport. But just have fun, like Jantzen said. I mean, just go in there and enjoy every moment because it could always be worse. That's the main thing I need to remember. It's never as bad as it seems, especially with our living. I mean, we're very fortunate to be able to play a sport that we love for a living. So for me, it's just go in there, have fun, and try and win a spot.
So you hear this every now and then, though, from baseball players or just professional athletes in general, that it becomes more of a corporate mentality. So how do you guys kind of stay in that zone where it is something that you enjoy, it's fun, it's still a game, and it doesn't just become I got to go to work kind of a moment?
For me, like I guess you could just, for me, I just kind of look back on like my TCU days and remember that stuff with Micah. Coach Sloss always told us, like, if we thought we had it bad, like look at Micah, and we're just like, well, this is a kid's sport, you know. This is supposed to be fun. We're supposed to enjoy every single moment of this, and it's hard to do in pro ball. It really is. I remember my first day in pro ball in high, you know, how selfish everything was. And I was in the dugout, and I was talking to Kyle Barch, who used to work out with us at TCU, and I was like, man, I didn't know how selfish, you know, professional baseball was. I said, I'm still in team mode because I just came from the World Series with TCU, so I was like.
So when you say selfish, can you give us an example without throwing anybody under the bus?
Not gonna name any names.
The team loses. If someone plays well, then you know
they don't care.
I was blown away when I got to pro ball. We lost a game. We got in the shower, and people were talking and laughing. I was looking around waiting for somebody to yell at us. I mean, we're not used to – I mean, you want to talk about bus rides and things like that. Yeah. Coach Sloss looking around. I mean, when you lose in college, it is serious. I mean, because there's not enough games. Like, you need to win every single game. And when I was in school, we were in the Mountain West, and so it was just a different ball game than now with the Big 12 just because –
well, the bus rides were a lot longer.
Listen, Mountain West were the best trips we've taken. That was so much fun. But pro ball is different. You know, you play 140 games in the minor leagues, and when you lose a game, it's, hey, guys, you know, let's go get them tomorrow. But at first, it's a shock. At least for me, it was like, man, I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want, you know, if these guys are laughing in the shower, somebody's going to hear this, and we're going to have to run or something, you know? I mean, that was just kind of, and I always enjoyed that.
So no one had to go run bleachers or anything after the games, huh?
You can't tell people what to do. I mean, it's a different game. Yeah.
So you guys mentioned, you know, that being just your welcome to the league moment as far as, you know, selfishness, not as much of a team game. What was like your welcome to the league moment just as far as, wow, these guys are really, really, really good? Like, what was the moment like for you, Brandon, where you were just like...
Was it the World Series?
Yeah, World Series. I mean, you started off pretty hot, right?
I was just at the right place at the right time, I feel like. But, I mean, I guess... I don't know how to say this without seeming arrogant, but I guess, like...
You can sound arrogant. You're a professional athlete.
I mean...
we can always edit this later.
I was very fortunate in my situation with the Royals. You know, I guess my welcome to the league was my debut. I mean... I've faced two of my first three hitters I faced were Jacoby Ellsbury and Derek Jeter. So that was like, and it was Yankee Stadium, so that was like an eye-opening experience. But
no pressure at all there.
It's at the same time, like I just try to remember, like it's the same game I played at TCU. You know, it's the same game I played since I was 5 years old, and I think that's what helped me succeed the most. And I think that's kind of like when I got hurt in 17. And came back in 18, I was just terrible, bad. I forgot that, you know, it's a game I've been doing my whole life. And I think that's what kind of, like, made me go downhill a lot. And I've kind of got back to that, and I've just enjoying it. Like, I think the best thing to happen for me, not technically, but, like, that quarantine, going out there and doing all that stuff with them and with the live BPs, I just remember how much fun it is to play this sport. And it's just the same sport. Like, it's the same game I've been playing my whole life. So doing that helped me realize, you know, still the same player. Nothing's changed. Injuries happen, whatever. Just go out there and control what you can control. That's what Coach Sloss and Coach Solos, you know, they taught me at TCU is control what I can control because I get pretty PO'd on the mound, and they kind of chilled that out in me a little bit.
What about you, Jantzen?
Well, I haven't played in the big leagues yet, so, you know, I got to say that I had a slightly different experience when I first got in the minor leagues. I signed in my first year. I kind of scuffled. I didn't have many at-bats, and then I got hit by a pitch and broke my thumb, and so my season was over pretty quick, and I did not have a good year. And came back the next that off season, was working out at TCU with all of our former TCU guys. And I don't know if my body language was different, or I was definitely down on baseball because – you got to pro ball. These guys are big and strong. I felt like in batting practice, you're hitting the ball further than I was. And, you know, I think I was really starting to question myself if I was good enough to play with these guys, or at least play in the big leagues, you know.
That perception that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, a little bit. And so, but it was funny. Matt Carpenter, who's one of my heroes, right, favorite people, he talked to me in the weight room. He's like, hey, man, he's like, you know you're good enough to play in the big leagues, right? I was like, you know, I guess maybe. And he's like, no, I'm serious, you are. And just him telling me that, kind of lit a fire under me. And that year, I had a great season, and I feel like I've played well since then. But having someone who is that good, Silver Slugger winner, World Series champion multiple times, to kind of validate, you are good enough. And I think he even said, look, you're better than guys I've played with. It's just there's some things that happen and some small things that you can do, I think, that will help me kind of hit that barrier this year. So I've had a slightly different I had, by the way, I didn't know your first two hitters were Ellsbury and Derek Jeter. That is amazing. And shout out to Brandon when you were playing the World Series, man, I got a flight up there. He got me a ticket. We were having a blast. Brandon started warming up that last game, and, man, we were sitting in a suite. It was amazing. And, I mean, when you stood up to warm up, I mean, we all got chills, and we were so excited. Unfortunately, you didn't get in that game, but, man, we had, I wish they would have called on you. But, man, I mean, that was one of the coolest things was getting to play with Brandon in college. He just got drafted. I just played with him against him a few months before, and now I'm in Kansas City, watching him getting ready to go pitch for Game 6 or I think it was Game 7. Oh, my gosh. It was amazing.
This is my favorite teammate I've probably ever had. I'm not saying that because he's here, but because of stuff like this. Like, the entire time I was at TCU, he was the same human being, regardless if you're a freshman or if you're his age. And you were a fifth-year senior my sophomore year.
Yes.
He was our captain. And, we were just so bad. We had all the talent in the world, but we were just so bad. And, for him to be able to continue to play the way he played throughout a 29 and 28 season, I mean, with all this talent in the world. I mean, we went to Super Regionals the year before and competed with UCLA, I mean, it's really impressive to me because he says he didn't think that he could play in the big. That's a joke. Me and my wife talk about this all the time. Like, I think he's one of the best players I've played with at TCU for sure. Best hand-eye coordination I've ever seen. Every time a ball was hit to him, I wouldn't even watch it because I knew it was going to be caught and I knew it was going to be out. Right on the money every single time. It was my favorite teammate to play with. He always positive, and it's just to be able to work out still and have a friendship with this guy. It's been a blessing. I love it because I will never forget when Holiday came to TCU and Slosh had him speak to us. He talked about the friendships you make in college will be the ones you keep forever, and I feel like that's definitely very true with him for sure. Because him living here, me living here, I feel like that friendship will always be there for me.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Thank you, bro. I love you.
No, and it seems like it's a cool deal for you guys, having that many pro players that all live back in the area you played, and, to have just the opportunity to all get together and practice. You guys have pro arms throwing you batting practice all the time. I mean, that's just a really awesome thing to say.
It's like the
not
best
many
version
places
of the Sandlot,
can do
man.
this. Exactly, yeah, it's the best version of that. Not many places can do that, obviously.
Well, we've got Coach Slosh to thank for that, honestly. The program that
100%.
you have cultivated and kept going is amazing. So, would you say 18th season? We were talking over there trying to figure it out. I mean, that is amazing. And this is your vision for what you want the program to be and where you've gotten it to now has been amazing. I mean, I'm so glad I ended up at TCU.
Oh, yeah.
Coach said, so am I. No, we are all very happy because the players that have come through here have been amazing, not just on the field, but off the field as well. And I think that a lot of nodding heads out there. You guys, as a core group, even going back, to the days when you were playing at TCU, and all the way through, even recent, you guys all seem to have that one thing, that frog factor that we all kind of talk about, right? The one thing that makes a TCU, a TCU alum, we all kind of come together as a family. But you guys live it, and I've never seen that out of a team, and it's just the culture that you guys are talking about, and I think all that really is due to Coach, the culture that he has developed, and not just that, but you guys bought into it. And continue to buy into it. And even after you guys graduate and you're going your own separate ways, the minute you can pick up the phone and go, hey, Sandlot, 15 minutes, you're there. And that really is a testament to just amazing, just not just the program that Coach has made, but the character that you guys have.
I feel like it runs through the city of Fort Worth. I mean, anytime I leave Fort Worth to go from the season, it's not the same feel. I mean, you can feel it when you hit Texas driving home. It's like, okay, this feels good again. I mean, it's flat as hell, and it's not the prettiest thing.
Cross the border, you see the sign, welcome to Texas.
Oh, my God, it's amazing every year. I mean, I love it every year, but once I get back to Fort Worth, it's like I feel like I'm breathing fresh air, and I get to see people. I mean, we still live near campus. She wanted to walk to the store the other day. We're walking. People are honking and waving. I mean, we've got friends all over Fort Worth, right? I mean, yeah, I don't know what else to say. It's just Fort Worth people and TCU community is unbelievable. It pisses other people off that went to other schools. They don't get it. And it's, we work out together. I'm wearing purple shoes, team-issued shoes that Coach Sloss got me. I mean, I can't take it off. I'm embarrassed I'm not wearing purple tonight. My bad. But it's just, I don't need it, man. I got it in my veins.
Correct later.
Yeah, well, Fort Worth is a special, special place.
It really is. And so you guys have, you guys are just an amazing duo here. Like you said, I mean, you guys are kind of like, the super duo when it comes to TCU baseball. Because every single time we talk about, TCU alum, obviously, Carp, Holiday, those guys come up. But the two of you guys, when it comes to, a lot of the members on our board, you guys are at the top of the list of what everybody wants to talk about. Everyone wants to see how you guys are doing. And it is, it's really kind of, first of all, thank you again for being here tonight. What do you guys see in the future for you guys after baseball? Do you guys? I know. You're like, I'm gonna make the Reds this year, and then we'll see how it. Yeah. No, but I mean, if you think, 10, 15, 20 years down the line, where do you guys see yourself in a life after baseball? Do you see yourself coaching? Do you see yourself somewhere else? Where are you guys thinking?
I don't know about 10, 15, 20 years, but I mean, as far as, what's next, I got to kind of live that a little bit.
I'm going to give you a cushion here. I'm just,
No. I mean, listen, I got to experience a lot of that. Coach Slosh was talking to my family. I heard him talking today, telling a story because for a while, I mean, I thought I was done playing baseball during COVID. We got married this year, and we just recently found out that we're having a baby. So
a boy, right?
Thank you, baby boy. Yeah.
Congratulations.
So,
congratulations.
With all this starting and not knowing what this 2021 baseball season was going to look like, I was getting fully prepared to be done with baseball and start working. And so it was hard. I mean, we took some time talking about it, trying to figure it out. I don't know why I'm getting emotional. Sorry. And it was funny. I saw Coach Slosh at Luke and Baker's wedding, which we just cannot avoid each other. I mean, TCU guys were always getting together. It's pretty funny. But, he asked what my plan was. I was like, man, I think I'm done. I'm doing sales for a good friend of mine. And then I got a random phone call from the Seattle Mariners saying that they had some interest. And I was like, man, I'm entertaining all offers, but it's going to have to be a strong offer because I've got my family to think about now. And they called back a few days later with what I thought was an amazing offer, so we took it. So I ran to the batting cage, and we're back getting after it again. So it feels like this is a year. I could not be more excited and so thankful for the support of Fort Worth community and my family.
That's amazing news. That's really good to hear. And so what was your wife's reaction when you said, honey, it's a really good offer?
Oh, she was totally supportive. I mean, when COVID happened, I had told her, I said, look, I don't think I'm ready to be done because I felt great in spring training. I mean, it really felt like everything was coming together. So that got squashed, right? And so I told her, I think I want to go give it one more go. She's like, 100%. I don't know why you would stop now, And then as this kind of kept lingering around, it just seemed like, okay, this might be the time that I wanted to be prepared for no matter what happened, right? And so when I told her, I don't know how she felt inside truly, but she was super supportive and said she's all in. So it's going to be kind of a whirlwind year, and hopefully she can bounce around and see me. And when that baby comes, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know. We'll have to figure it out as we go.
So did you pick a name yet?
Oh, my gosh. Don't start. No, we have not. No.
That's a can of worms.
She likes like 4 names. I'm like, I can't do any of those.
Brandon, maybe? No, I'm joking. No,
maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe. Brandon, how about you?
I don't know. That's a good question. You know, you kind of have to, I guess, think about it some way. I'd like to be a coach. I think it'd be awesome. I don't know if I have the patience, honestly. I'm a very impatient human, but
How old are you?
I'm 27.
So he's still got 10 more years.
I hope.
He'll
I
learn
hope.
it.
Your 10-year
Let's hope.
program is you're still playing.
Let's
Yeah.
hope. No, but I would definitely, like to coach. I would like to. I guess I'd have to go back to school for that, though. So
Go back to school to coach?
don't you have to have a degree for stuff like that? No, but
Does Coach want to chime in here?
do you?
Hey, you're fine. I
no,
think you'll get in on your experience alone. and
100%.
I think that's how
yeah.
that works.
Watch. We actually just had a baby boy about 6 weeks ago. So,
Congratulations.
Thank you. Watch him grow up for sure.
Did you pick a name yet?
Yeah. Still deciding, actually. No, but it's gonna be tough being away from him all the time for sure. But I hope I get to watch him, play sports or do whatever he wants to do. But yeah, I mean, being a coach would be pretty cool. I know me and my brother talked about opening up a place, like a little cage place, and running some teams through there. So hopefully that can happen. That'd be pretty cool because that's something that we've always wanted to do together. But yeah, I haven't really given it that much thought.
I would love to see you be the dad when your kid goes to play baseball.
I don't know if you want to. I don't know if you've ever seen my dad when I play baseball. I'm pretty high strung like he is. He doesn't sit down when I play. I don't think I'll be able to sit down when my kid plays.
Yeah, my son started a year and a half ago, and that's the experience. The experience is you're playing, especially like when they first start doing kid pitch. And every single game is, called on runs because all the batters are either walking or getting hit by pitches. But just hearing the dads just absolutely go nuts. I mean, that's where the real excitement and the entertainment is in those games. So I'd love to be able to see what you would do with your kids' team. So, but congratulations on the new kid and the upcoming one.
Thank you.
And it's amazing for both of you guys. So. Guys, is there anything else new going on that we would like to know about or that the fans would like to know about?
Man, I'd just like to say that we're honored to be here and to be on Micah's stage and have this beautiful mural of
He's sitting next to me. He's catching. He just can't.
Words
can't
are
speak
hard,
anymore.
right?
Words are hard.
So I mean, this is a beautiful place. We got to be here and hang out with Maurice about maybe a month ago. I grew up, seriously, 45 seconds down the road here. It's pretty crazy driving by here. It's like, wish this was here when I was growing up. This is a beautiful spot. I mean, you walk in here, you see this fireplace. I just want to go cozy up to it. I think I've said it 3 times today, but this is such a cool spot and such a cool message. And, like Maurice and Coach Sloss were saying earlier, just that you feel it when you come in here of this is a special place and the community and the care and giving back. I mean, so I know Brandon feels the same way. Honored to be here, and we'll definitely be repeat customers here for sure. And I think it's amazing y'all are doing the radio show here. I can't wait to get a location in Fort Worth eventually. I hope that's in the plans, but doing it here, this is worth the drive. This is a really cool experience.
Definitely. This is my first time here. Like Jantzen said, it feels like home pretty much. This is awesome to be, on this stage talking about, what we got to go through at TCU together. And, to be able to do it at Maurice's, coffee shop, this is just even more of a blessing. Very, very thankful to have them in my life and, spend the time I got to spend with them and to be up here with y'all. This is awesome.
Well, thank you guys very much. Really, I do appreciate it. We'll be rooting for you guys. Seattle, Cincinnati. Hopefully, you'll find some good chili somewhere.
Or not,
Or
doesn't matter.
learn
I
to
don't
love
even
chili.
love it.
Okay,
I'll
Tacoma's
eat
got
everything,
good food,
seafood,
man.
anything
Tacoma
else.
has good food.
Chowder, I guess, in Seattle, right?
Oh my, I could crush some chowder.
Chowder. Okay, well, there you go. So we'll be looking out for that. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I really do appreciate that. Sorry, Ryan's giving me a heads up. What are we doing? Oh, yeah. That's good. Okay. We'll have Coach come back onto the stage right now. Sorry, I didn't get the memo. I probably should have read the
I think
memo.
it's on your
I know,
notes right here. Yeah,
She
I've
wrote
been
it on my notes.
waiting.
I haven't looked at these. I'm only the
I am
host. I'm not
impressed. There's
supposed to know what's happening.
Not many notes there. You're doing
no,
great.
there's
yeah.
not. Well, thank you. I appreciate
This is
it.
flowing nicely.
So, okay. So, Coach, first off, do you need a degree to coach?
In college, yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
you
right,
do.
so-
Yeah,
Yeah.
or at least be working towards one. Like we have a student assistant coach this year, another decent left-handed pitcher from TCU named Matt Perk.
The best
think I've heard of him.
left-hander.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
doing a great job, and he's the third student assistant coach that I've had, and the other two are both stayed in coaching. They're doing great. Josh Elander, who is now doing awesome at the University of Tennessee, and then Kyle Winkler, who is now assistant pitching coach at Incarnate Word, and Matt. So all three of those guys on the 2010 College World Series team with Jantzen. And Matt's unique in that he signed after he was what they call a sophomore eligible player. He signed after his sophomore year, so he has 2 years. This is awesome. My son, who I've been at TCU for 18 years, so he's 21 now. He texted me Tuesday was the first day of class, and he's in class at 11:30 in a management something business class. And he texted me, he's like, "Dad, Perk's in my class." I was like, you talk about come full circle. When Matt Perk pitched in the College World Series in 2010, Jackson was, 10 years old, and now they're in the same TCU class together. So I told Perk, don't worry, he'll help you get through it. So,
I was going to say, who copies off of whom, right?
yeah. I promise you, he's going to want to copy off Jackson.
Well, that's fantastic. So, Coach, talk a little bit about these two guys. How special is it? And again, as what we were talking about up here, how special is it with the culture that you have created at TCU to have players like this still want to come back and be part of it?
Yeah, it's the best thing, because you look at these, you sit here and you listen to these two guys, and they're both awesome husbands and great dads, great dad and great dad to be, and I get to be around guys like this every day. You think about that. And so that, I love the wins, and I'm, super competitive and act like an idiot when we lose and stuff like that. But at the end of the day,
yeah, we heard a little bit about that.
Yeah, and we all have our faults. But at the end of the day, when you just get to be around guys like this all the time, and you watch them grow, and both on and off the field, more off the field than on, and whether it be a big league debut or whether it be the things that Jantzen has done in his career, all of that stuff, it's awesome, but it pales in comparison to going to their wedding or getting the text or getting the phone call that I'm going to be a dad, and so it's just it's awesome, and I can't take any credit for it. Number one, they both these guys have amazing parents, and so a lot of the time they show up this way. We have to redirect a few times, some more than others, but for the most part, and if you were to, no disrespect to these two, but I have 44 of them right now, and it's an awesome experience, and it's a great job. It's not a job; it's a lifestyle, and I always told myself I want to raise my children on a college campus, and the greatest compliment, sorry, I'll cry a little bit, but that I can ever give a player is that it's what you want your daughter to marry and who you want your son to be. And I can say that about both these guys. So that's what it is.
Yeah, that's a really high praise, Coach.
But I will tell you, if Brandon wants to coach, and Brandon could not coach Brandon.
That's a fact.
I'll never forget, I was at the Big 12. We had Big 12 coaches meetings. We used to have them in person, but they're in September. and it's always on a Monday, and I would always they would finish, luckily, they're over in Las Colinas at the Big 12 office, and it always ends about 3 o'clock, and I'm busting it back to try and make the tail end of whatever practice we were having that day. And I pull in the parking lot, and I'm getting ready to run in to the stadium, and I see Finnegan walking out. I'm like, and he's got his lip stuck out. He's mad about something. And I just walked by him, and I knew Coach Sarlos had kicked him out of practice that day for some whatever he had done. But it was a redirection, and now, see, that worked out great for you, buddy.
100%.
Was that the only time?
That was the only time getting kicked out of practice, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It was my first practice back from a torn hamstring. And I did something the wrong way, and I reacted the wrong way, and I got what I deserved.
And I want to ask you what you did, but
No.
we'll save that for the after show. It's things like that we've heard the stories. We've been around the team, and it really does show just the type of character that the players that you're getting. But more to the point, I know you said you get them this way, but it really does take a strong mentor in a head coach to ensure that they stay that way and continue to grow personally.
Well, I mean, I just feel like, I just turned 50, so the older you get, the more your perspective you have, I think, and I'm in the leadership and character development business, and it's through the sport of baseball. And so, early on, and even while these guys were at TCU, I'm still focused on the wins and losses, and I probably wouldn't say this in about a month when we're deep, when you get into the season. But in reality, my job is to help these guys during their college years to become the very best version of themselves that they can possibly be, right? So it's about the slider, yes, it's about him fielding the backhand, whatever it is, but
Bunt defense.
You guys and KillerFrogs. Jeez. What the heck?
I promised somebody I would at least
You guys
say
bitch
that
and moan
once
about
tonight.
two things: bunting and free throw shooting.
We can talk about free throw shooting
Oh
later.
my
but
goodness, get over it.
We don't wanna go to that.
Anyway, if I can get Brandon Finnegan and Jantzen Witte and guys like that to make good decisions, right? To whether it be in the classroom, away from the field, whatever, and that helps them become a better person each day, 1% each day, the stuff we talk about, then the baseball stuff's going to take care of itself. But we can go sign the greatest. I mean, these guys, they wouldn't mention a name, but they've been around major league caliber players that aren't major league caliber people. And, whoever that guy is, he may be so talented that he can even be so talented he can reach the major leagues, but he's not going to excel the way he possibly could because of all the other stuff that is actually within his control, which makes you even root harder for a guy like Jantzen and Brandon, but for Jantzen to just get a chance in the big leagues because he's done everything right. He makes all the right decisions. He is a great teammate. And so now it just boils down to his opportunity, And so if anybody is going to make the right decisions, especially during a COVID era, and give himself the best chance to play in the major leagues, it's Jantzen Witte. He's going to make better decisions than the guy he's competing with at third base for the Seattle Mariners. I don't even know who the third baseman is. But I can promise you, it may not happen, but this guy's going to give himself the best chance to make it happen. And that's on a much smaller scale in college athletics. That's the thing I've learned. And that's why, they'll tell you, and our players, when I go crazy over something, sometimes it's baseball, but it's the other stuff that I go crazy over and get so mad is because, buddy, it's like the old country song says, don't ask me how I know. Just freaking do it. And when you have these guys like this and the Holidays and Carpenters and those guys weren't perfect going through college, they had to develop. But when they're around every day, I don't have to say a word because you got a living, breathing example of Brandon Finnegan and Jantzen Witte and Matt Carpenter and Nick Lodolo, signed for $7 million, but he's out there with anybody else, he's just a TCU guy, and everybody treats him the same. And so if you don't want to listen to me, just look at those guys. There it is, proof's in the pudding. They're living testimonies to not just our program, but TCU. And like Jantzen said, Fort Worth is what sets it apart. And so all of that stuff, and it takes a village. Everybody around helps, and this is the result. Great people like this.
Yeah, it definitely takes a village, but you're the mayor of that village. And I think both these guys would agree with me that the example that you set, top down, and the environment that we have in Fort Worth, I think everyone would agree here, is amazing. I don't think I would want to go anywhere else in the country. But what you have done at the school and what you have set as an example, not just for you, but your entire staff, the way that you treat your staff, all the way down to the way that you handle your players. And like you said, you view them, it's almost as though you view them as your surrogate sons. And that's a huge, that really is about you and what you have set forward to see that trickle-down effect.
Well, I mean, I have children too, so I know when I first started out, I was doing my student teaching. In my senior year of college, I did my student teaching because I was headed towards I wanted to be a coach, and I didn't think I was going to get to coach in college. I was just going to go be a high school coach or do whatever. Nothing wrong with that. And
But you got a degree.
Yeah, I did. And but I was doing my student teaching. First 6 weeks were in kindergarten. So yes, I was a kindergarten teacher for 6 weeks.
I've been there. My degree's in education.
And then the second half was in high school, and I worked for an old football coach who was retiring in North Carolina, and he said, boy, let me tell you something. You just remember this piece of advice. He said, you can take the most rational, sane, educated, level-headed, non-emotional human being you've ever met. When it comes to their child, they're the most idiotic, emotional, uneducated, and I'm being facetious, but the point is that,
like I was saying about watching the other dads at baseball games. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. So you just my point is, this is somebody's child, and during the recruiting process, I say a lot of things, but one of them is I can't guarantee you that your son's going to be a first rounder, that he's going to win a national championship, that he's even going to graduate. We're going to work towards all those things, but he's got to do the work, right? I mean, but we're going to give him the best chance for success. I can guarantee you that I will look after your son's best interests at all times. And that doesn't mean I'm going to be perfect. It doesn't mean I'm going to not say something I wish I could take back. But it does mean that I will hold them accountable, and I will, especially as my children have gotten older, you gain way more perspective when you're a parent yourself. And so these guys they're feeling it. He's feeling it now with his son and one on the way. That, man, you think, yeah, you love your wife, there's no doubt about it, but man, that child, holy cow, you talk about just sets everything apart, and it doesn't change. It doesn't change when they're 5, 20, it never changes. You still look at them the same way. And so my job is to be a part of that process and take care of them, and sometimes that's an arm around, and sometimes it's that.
Foot up the rear, yeah, definitely. So, Jantzen, what was it like at TCU being coached by Coach Schloss?
I loved it. Freshman year it's tough, right? I didn't really know what to expect, and Coach Schloss was hard on us. And to me, I just think accountability. So one rule was we had to shave every day. That was Coach Schloss's rule. Well, I didn't have any facial hair. I'd get like a couple whiskers, like on my mustache. And one time he was hitting ground balls to somebody, and I was right there at the ball feeder, giving him some balls. And he was like, "Hey, you didn't shave." I was like, "Oh yeah, sorry." He was like, "Every day,
peach fuzz.
You shave every day." And I was like, "Man, all right, I get it. I didn't know you'd notice, right?" But it was like, okay, I'll do this every day. And it was like, I learned then, I want to play, right? So if I just do what he says, I'll be in a great spot. I never understood going against what the coach wants you to do. So it was always easy for me to make the right decisions because I knew if I screwed up, I would be held accountable. And he did that for every player, no matter if they were Matt Perk, a dream recruit that somehow ended up in college after turning down a multi-million-dollar deal. He held everyone to the same accountability. And that was something that I feel like you taught us how to be a pro. That's something that my minor league coaches say about me. Listen, I know when you come to the field that you're going to be ready to play. You know, I can trust you. You're going to know the signs. And under pressure, you know, you're mentally tough. And those are all things I enjoy being a pro and coming to the field and just doing what I need to do to be ready to play. And these are all things that I learned easily by being with your program. Whether it's shaving every day or just doing the little things and learning that those little things matter. So I am very grateful to have been a part of your program.
So, Brandon, how many times did he have to tell you to shave?
Me? None.
Yeah, none?
None.
Oh, all right.
He'd eased up a lot by the time Brandon got
Yeah, was that it? Got soft?
No, I actually, I don't think at the time I could really grow facial hair. Sophomore year, we had a team 3.0, so we got to have some facial hair.
We had 3.0s too. We just weren't allowed to have them during that.
I softened up between these two here.
He did.
Well, can we talk about this brief?
Oh, yeah, I'd love to hear the facial
All right, so
hair
here's the facial hair thing. So, yes, I used to be all in like the Yankees, like you're pro, like you shave every day. That's what pro players do, and
Start
then,
shirts.
Yeah, and then as you get older, it's kind of you become a parent. You're like, man, just pick your freaking battles, right? Like, but does this really affect, especially during the season? Does this affect winning or losing, right? And so the players have to be clean shaven every day in the fall, and here's the reason why and one of my things is to become an adult, right? We're all adults in this room. We all have a boss, right? When you become an adult, you have to learn to do things you don't want to do. There are things every day that you have to do. There's a million things I love about TCU, but there are some things at TCU I don't like to do. But I have a boss, and I have multiple bosses, and that's just what you got to do. So I think for young people to learn to do something that they don't like doing, I think is a really good thing, right? Most outfielders don't really like to throw it through the cutoff man to home plate. They want to air it out. Well, you have to learn to do things, whether it be in baseball or elsewhere, that you don't like doing because that's what sets you apart from other people. And so we do that in the fall, and then if they make a 3.0 team GPA or better, which we always do, then they can have facial hair in the spring, and they just have to be growing something, right? So you can't just have a mess. It's just, and I've never had facial hair in my life until COVID, and this will be off, I promise you, before our first game. But so a funny story is
I wasn't going to bring it up.
So in 2010, I'll do a lot of things, nothing illegal, but I'll do a lot of things for a winning streak, like a lot. And so in 2010, Jantzen's redshirt freshman year, we have a good team, and I don't even know how it started, but Brian Holiday came to me and said, "We'll make you a deal." As if they weren't already trying, but like, we're going to go on a win streak, but you have to grow a mustache until we lose. And so I'm like, I'm in. I'll do it. And that was a team. There's nothing more fun to coach than a team you can trust. A group of guys you can have fun with, and they won't grab a mile when you give them an inch, right? And that was a team, and Brian was an incredible leader. And so I said, all right, let's do it. So I don't know how many games we won, but it was a lot. And that's back when I don't meet with the team after games anymore, but that's when I would, the game's over and you see the team go to left field and the other team go to right field, and you start talking to the team. So this is so funny is that I would go start talking to the team, and I had I have blonde hair, but when I grow a beard, it becomes red or reddish. So I had this really bad Tom Selleck thing above my lip, and even if I was mad at him, I would start barking, and all the team would be like dying laughing because I looked like such an idiot. And then we're playing at Oklahoma on a Tuesday night and just getting our doors blown in. This was the end of the streak, and it's like the 8th inning, and we're getting, we're down like 8 or 10 runs or something, and I yelled down to Jason Jones, our equipment manager. I said, "You find me a freaking razor somewhere in this stadium, I'm shaving this thing before I get on the bus." So I'll never forget in that bad locker room behind the first base dugout, no shaving cream, just hot shower, just shredded my face to get that thing off. but that's how it started, right there.
That's great.
But it was worth all those wins.
It definitely was worth all those wins, right?
I remember one time I asked him, we were in the dugout or something. I was like, "Hey, how's the mustache? How you going? Or how's it going?" And he looked at me, and goes, "I can't sleep. I can't sleep with this thing. I feel it all night." We all thought it was the funniest thing, and we just kept on winning games.
Were you guys thinking about maybe adding to that, or like after that happened, like, oh, now we're gonna try for a beard next time?
Like you said, you gave us an inch. We weren't trying to take a mile. The mustache, it was the ugliest thing we've ever seen. It was worth it. Sorry.
That's awesome.
I'm gonna have to work some Photoshop magic later. That is a great story. Brandon, same question to you. What was it like? You know, I know you've had a lot of fun at TCU. You've obviously you were at the World Series, College World Series. You guys were part of those special teams. But what was it like though, going through Coach's tutelage?
I think it's what I would say it's what made me the player I am, and the person I am. I'll never forget my first day on campus. You know, Coach Sloss, we always have these team meetings before anything gets started, and you know, one of the first things he said to us was, you know, it doesn't matter how great of a player you are, everybody's going to remember the type of teammate you are, and I think that and you know, if our team goals are met, your personal goals will be met. Those are two of the main things that kind of stuck with me the entire time I was at TCU. Because you don't want to be that guy that doesn't show up to workouts and screws the entire team over, or just doesn't do the right things, doesn't show up to class, fails his classes, can't help the team out, stuff like that. You just don't want to do that stuff to screw the rest of the team over with, and that all helped me become the person and the player I am. I always kept that in mind, regardless of how things are going, I'm always going to try and have fun with my teammates and be a guy that people want to be around, even when I suck. I try to have fun, and I just want to be. Everybody wants to be the best player ever. It is what it is. But like Coach Sloss said, when I started getting scouted by major league teams, he's like, you need to forget about that and not pay attention to that. He goes, our team goal is the World Series. He goes, if that goal is met, your goal will be met. And I was like, all right, it's true, because if we're going to the World Series, I'm doing something right too. So I kind of just forgot about it and just went out there and tried to have fun. And of course, I had Kyle Botchak, a great catcher, to help me out, and a great defense. But those things helped me be the person I am today, and I'm very thankful for that, because I'll never forget anything at TCU. I remember everything every year, regardless if we sucked or if we were a World Series team. I'll remember it all. I remember all my teammates, all my friends. It was a blessing. I'll never forget the day I committed, walking out, just how pumped I was to be a Horned Frog, and the things he said in that meeting, and I'll never forget it.
Coach, you hear these guys talk a lot about their time at TCU, what it meant to them. Earlier, you said with COVID, it's really the toll, the emotional toll, and the lack of being in community with one another has really kind of taken root with a lot of the players. What are you guys doing in 2021 to kind of mitigate that and get these guys back together in community to kind of build that back up again?
Like our current team?
Yeah, your current team.
Yeah, we just have to do it a different way. We've actually met more, whether it be on Zoom or in person. We just do it, socially distanced. Whether all of my team meetings actually happen in the outfield now, and we use the video board. If I have to do a PowerPoint or I'm trying to show them, even if we're teaching a baseball thing, it happens in the outfield, and we're using the video board. And then I have 8 seniors, and they're just like these guys. They're a younger version, and they're awesome. And I eventually went to them at the end of the fall and said, listen, I don't want you to have a party. We're going to respect this thing, but we can't keep going like this. We can't. Because, the toll it was taking on some of our guys is awful. And I said, just get on your back patio for Get 6 of you together on your back patio. You know, grab another next Friday night. Grab these 6 guys. And I mean, I learned a long time ago. I don't want a team full of milk drinkers. There's, you know, if you know what that means. And so I don't want them to be throwing parties and going crazy. But at the same time, it's what college is, man. And so these guys will tell you, you know, yes, they had awesome experiences on a baseball field, but their greatest stories, if we turn this mic off, will be happen at you know, and that's for all of us. And so you can't lose that. You can't. And that spring is going to be harder because they're going to put roster limits on us. They're going to put limits on us on how many guys can be in the dugout, where guys can stand. And just imagine, I mean, Jantzen redshirted his freshman year, and he was around. He was in the dugout every day for all the home games. And Matt Carpenter's a 5th-year senior playing third base. And here's a guy who's going to be playing for us for another 4 years, another 5-year player. I really only had 2 third basemen for 10 years. Think about that. And
that's amazing.
And but he was in the dugout. He got to watch. He got to learn. Imagine your redshirt freshman year if you couldn't even dress for the home games. How disconnected you feel. How different your relationships would be with your teammates. And you can't even go to a party after. Really, right? So I actually met with our medical people today. This is not a TCU decision, and I'm still fighting it, but I was like, you want to talk about student-athlete welfare? I don't care if we stretch guys from home plate to the left field foul pole. In uniform, they can sit on a lawn chair on the turf down the left field line. We have to let these kids put a uniform on and be around everybody else. And so, and I'm going to fight till that. I mean, if it has to be public, I could care less. Because I can't imagine why even be on the team. I mean, literally, and those guys, Jantzen will tell you that he'll tell you like these guys. Al Ralston was our bullpen catcher, who most fans don't know, but Finney's as close to Al Ralston as he is with Jantzen Witte. Are you not?
So true. Wow.
You know, and so nobody remembers. Yeah, I mean, Finney pitched in the big leagues, and he's going to do it again. He's going to play in the big, but eventually, no one remembers that stuff among the players. All you remember is the interaction you had with your teammates and the equipment manager and the coaches and everything else. And so I just think we have to fight like crazy to keep that, because the long-term effects of that, in my opinion, are way worse than COVID.
Yeah. Can't agree more. Absolutely. Well said, Coach. Well, I know we need to wrap up. Thank you all very much for being here tonight. I really do appreciate it. I know Maurice appreciates it as well, and I know you guys were all very close with Maurice's family and Micah. And so, again, thank you all for joining us tonight. Again, if you got a chance, Grounds and Gold. You want to come up real quick? Oh, come out to Arlington, Grounds and Gold, and come out and see this amazing place. And we'll, Ryan, you want to take us out?
I just wanted to wrap up with, make sure to go to KillerFrogs.com, click on the forum tab, and you'll see a bunch of information just about Killer Frogs in general, and then also the Blast. You can follow us on Twitter and Facebook. We have a team, as we mentioned earlier. Please go and become a team member, create your own team, or just donate money. And $5 is plenty. I mean, just donate whatever you have, and we will really appreciate it. I get tongue-tied. Right now, we're going to wrap up with our tradition of Go Frogs with the team, and then we'd like to take a huge group picture of everybody. You can put your masks on, so we're
socially distanced.
So we won't be socially distanced, but we will have our mask on, so we'll be breathing on each other. So now what we're going to do is have a drawing. So we'll just let everybody up here
prizes?
pick one.
I didn't get
there
this.
are prizes.
On my notes.
We can probably stop the podcast now, or do you want to do that?
Wait, no.
We'll just, you know what? Just keep
let
watching.
Them see what they're missing out
Something
on.
fun could happen here. All right, so Coach is going to read the number off. This is for a signed baseball by all
I don't have my old man glasses on, so I'm going to go 494495.
Bingo.
All right, must be present to win.
Okay, 494480.
Hold up a second. I pulled my own ticket.
Wow.
See, I told
You got a signed ball coming. Your own
Aw, that's so
signature.
sweet.
No, can I get a signed ball from Brandon and Jantzen?
It's worth a
No, I'm kidding. Here, I'll draw another one.